pay attention to that. Henry Kissinger will take care of that, and everything will be all right, and oh, I guess we'll just have to give up on global government after all. Really? Really? Is this truly what people believe is going to be the savior of humanity? Unfortunately, a lot of people will be tricked into this because the dialectic is extremely effective. You pit a thesis versus an antithesis. A synthesis emerges if one globalist institution is competing with or cooperating with another globalist institution. You're going to get global government as the end synthesis. Inevitably. That is where we are being steered, and we are being asked to believe that this process is inevitable. How else could the global economy possibly be structured? How could it be run? How could it be governed if there weren't these multilateral institutions in the back pockets of the oligarchs sitting atop them, sucking off the blood from them like vampires? There's just no other way to do it. Well, I am going to offer a counter-narrative to that narrative today, but in order to do that, I think we should take one element of that idea, that there is a certain inevitability to what is happening in the global economy, and actually agree with it. Because I think when we look at the broad scope and sweep of history, we do see certain inevitabilities that arise as a result of certain developments, often technological developments that take place. And one very apparent, very easily documentable example of that from history is what happened in England in the 18th century.
In towns across England and the United States, a series of extraordinary innovations would alter the way people lived and worked for the next 150 years. Inventors had found new ways to harness nature's energy. They built new kinds of machines, powered by water, steam, and coal. The new machines replaced hand-powered tools. They did the same work, only cheaper and faster. Much of the work was done outside the home, in specially designed buildings, the first factories. Mechanization began in the textile mills of England, where one machine attached to a spinning wheel could do the work of 50 people. Fuel, clothing, and food all became more affordable. With the development of locomotives and steamboats, manufactured goods could now be sold halfway around the world. Families moved from the villages of their ancestors to new industrial towns. And a new class of people emerged, workers who produced goods.
The Industrial Revolution. So here we have a specific historical precedent for the phenomena that we're documenting today, namely the idea that technological developments can lead to reorderings of economic relations, and on top of that, complete transformations of society. There's no doubt whatsoever that the Industrial Revolution completely changed the face of the globe, not just 18th century England, but as it spread out, it changed the way that we think about society, the way society is ordered, and many aspects of our daily lives. And some of those changes were for the good, some of them were for the bad. But the interesting part is that right now, through a series of technological developments that have really started to come to the fore in the past few decades, or even the past decade, we are now reordering those relations by rendering the technology, the machinery, the industrial processes that underlay the industrial era economy obsolete. What kinds of technological developments could I possibly be referring to? Well, let me remind you, I'm a regular guy sitting here in my apartment in Japan, talking to you wherever you are in the world through a technology sitting here on my desktop that literally was almost unthinkable a few decades ago. That is revolutionary, and we've talked in the past about how that's revolutionary in terms of the transference of ideas through society, communication, the media, all the rise of the alternative media. But today, let's think about the economic ramifications of this. And in order to start documenting those economic ramifications, let's give this phenomenon a name. And this is always contentious because